yourself for me and tell us what we're doing here.
Good morning. I'm Joshua Bate, the president of Joshua Bate Trading Bermuda Limited and Bates, and we are building beds today for children in need. We have joined with Sleep in Heavenly Peace Beds, shpbeds.org, to provide a future where no child in Bermuda will sleep on the floor. I heard about this charity a year ago. They were one of CNN Heroes' top 10 charities, and I saw their presentation and I thought that it would work very well in Bermuda, and it was and that we spoke to the Coalition for the Protection of Children, and they told us that there was a need here, and we're building our first 10 beds today under the direction of Matthew Gerardo. He's our Vice President of Sales, and he's the chapter president for SHP Beds in Bermuda now, their first international build. Now, hand you over to Matthew, and he can tell you more.
All right. Hi, like Josh said, I'm Matthew. I will be the chapter president of the Bermuda branch. The way we found out about it, obviously, it was Josh that brought it to our attention. It was a charity that he had seen in the U.S. and thought it would be something that would be great in Bermuda. So we took the initiative, like Josh said, reached out to Coalition for the Protection of Children. We found that there would be a serious demand here for this, and I mean, as the community, we're responsible for this problem, and we're basically doing every effort to get into it and to solve it. So I actually just got started yesterday with all the training and whatnot. So for the past few weeks, we've been working on sourcing the lumber, the tools, and now we're going to start working towards bringing in volunteers. So hopefully today can drive some support from the community. And I'll pull Luke over in a second. That way he can talk more about it. He's obviously the founder for the charity. So I'll see if I can grab him right now. Hey, Luke. Yes, sir. Could you come over here for a sec?
I think we're good right here. Then we put them in.
All right.
We can put them all in.
There you are, my good sir.
How you doing, brother?
Nice to do. Nice to see you.
Can you introduce yourself and just give us a little background behind the charity that you, or the organization that you started?
You bet.
And how we got here today.
You bet. So my name's Luke Mickelson. I'm from Idaho in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, and 8 years ago discovered that there was kids sleeping on the floor in our own hometown. And so I decided back then, as a Christmas project, wanted to provide a way for my kids to give back to the community, as well as get kids off the floor. Didn't realize how bad the problem really was until we started building beds. And you know, 8 years later, we're now in beautiful Bermuda, setting up chapters. The Bates company, along with Matthew and Josh, have been just awesome in wanting to open this up to Bermuda and provide this need for the kids here in this country. So we're excited to be here. It's our first international build.
You had the opportunity to be highlighted on CNN's Heroes. Tell us what sort of difference that made in the exposure and the attention that you got after that.
Yeah, we were really blessed to be included as a CNN hero. You know, they nominate people from all over the globe, and after that nomination, you know, they take the top 10 that they feel are making the most impact, and we're just very blessed to be considered one of those top 10. And the biggest blessing of it all is to have people like Josh Bates and his company find us on TV, find us from that publication, and inspire them to do what we're doing today. And that's really what SHP is about, is giving people that have big hearts, that want to help the community, an avenue to be able to do so. Because there's kids right now in Bermuda that are struggling, that are sleeping on the floor. Families are trying to provide the best they can for their kids, and beds, unfortunately, just happens to be a luxury for some kids, and some kids it's not. And if we can take a little bit of our time and a little bit of our community involvement, come together, we can have build days like what you see here today, just a couple of hours with a bunch of volunteers, build beds for kids that need it here in Bermuda.
Mr. Bates mentioned this is the first outreach outside of the U.S. Looking forward to SHP in the future. Where do you see it going?
So we are now starting chapters internationally. You know, Bermuda's the first one in, you know, outside of the U.S. on the Atlantic coast. We have chapters that are starting up in Canada, and we have some interest in Australia and London. We really want to take this globally, because what we're seeing in the States, what we're seeing in Canada, is certainly no different than what we're seeing here in Bermuda. You know, rough calculations is about estimate is about 2 to 3% of the total population represent kids that are sleeping on the floor or in really uncomfortable situations. So you take Bermuda, that's 65,000 people, that represents about 1,800 kids that are sleeping on the floor. And if we can provide even a little bit of relief for some of those families, build 10 or 20 bunk beds at a time like what we're doing today, that's getting 10 or 40 kids off the floor for the next 10 years. You know, what better use of our time than to spend a couple hours on a Saturday getting together as a community, getting together as a team building exercise for your company here, for your employees to be able to feel like they're giving back to their own kids in their own community.
Thank you very much and best wishes.
Thank you.
So cut all of those and good. Everything above this level here. I know, right?